One. Hello, hello. Good afternoon. Happy Talk About It Tuesday, folks. We are so glad to be here with you this week. I know I'm glad. I'm excited about not just our guest for today. That's why I'm cheesing all over myself, but also for the topic that we're going to discuss. Hey, Gloria, thanks for coming back and joining us again this week. We love to see our loyal folks that show up in the chat and show us love and leave us messages. Last week I was frisky and I was live both on YouTube and Facebook. But today we don't want to test the Wi-Fi goddess. So we're just going to rock over here on the YouTube side and enjoy our intimate time together. So thank you guys so much for being here with us. As always, we always love when you guys give us a hello, tell us where you're joining us from, ask your questions, make your comments, give us a high five, say amen in the chat, because let me tell you what's going to happen today. I think will be repeated in history. I'm going to call it as it is, Tamika. That's what I'm doing, calling it as it is. We are
Right.
history in the making. I am Carmelita Turner, the realest realtor you know. Hey, Deetra, thanks for being here. And thank you all for being here on our channel called Carmelita. I'm so excited about the guest that we have here today. Well, thank you. Yes, we are queens, as are you, all of you. So thank you for being here. Let me, without further ado, get into this bio of this person that I loved dearly for a very long time. Her name is none other than the Tamika Rector. And let me say, Tamika also goes by Mikachu. She's half of the dynamic duo on Ladies P.O.V podcast, where she serves as a host. When I tell you she loves everything music related about as much as I do, y'all know I live my life through music and books. I would have to say Tamika has me beat. So she loves everything music related. She definitely loves watching and discussing sports. Let me tell y'all something. If I ever had to put two people up against each other on their sports knowledge, my money is on Meek Meek. Okay, I'm just putting that out there. She
Thank
also
you.
likes to help budding small businesses with their creative marketing. She's very, very good at that, and all of her contact is in the description of this video. And she's currently working on her bachelor's degree in business administration. I know that's right, because this woman is always about her business. And because I'm not going to tell you my age, y'all know my age, and y'all don't need to know this baby's age, but just know she has known me for a minute. So, Tamika, welcome to
Thank
the show.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm excited to be here with you. I feel like, look, I'm always admiring your podcast because you got your own little flow through music. I said, dang, we need a theme song around here for the intros and, to get, especially for you, because you are all things music, all things karaoke. And I was like, yeah, I need to get some music happening over here in this atmosphere. Tamika, my God, you're in your third season, right? Like 59 episodes, 58
Yeah.
episodes. You and Yolanda have been going for a minute. Let's see. Can you all hear me still? I should have checked with the chat. Can you all hear me okay? Let's see. Let me look over here in the chat. Okay, okay. So Tamika's frozen. Okay, that's okay. That's never a problem around here. Let me tell y'all something. I just told Tamika the Xfinity gods were not allowing me to be great. So, so look, Tamika, I was just asking the chat. I was like, can y'all hear me okay? Because I thought it was me, right? I thought it was me. So I was like, I'm gone. I'm out of there. I don't even know where I
Oh
am
my
virtual
gosh.
space
I
right
don't know
now.
what is going on today. Everything that can
I,
go wrong is going wrong, but it's okay. I have my phone on standby.
that's what I'm saying, because Tamika, this is what we do, boo. This is what we
Yes.
do. And people,
And
and like
then
I
you
said, you've been doing this for 3 seasons strong. Like, I'm only in my second season, but I darn sure know that if you ever catch me in the season saying season something in episode 58, somebody gonna have to send me on a straight vacation because, girl, I don't think people understand, the amount. I mean, you guys, and I'm always, first of all, you got me hooked on that daggone show, the Mass Singer.
Oh, I love it.
Listening to your
Yes.
listen to your podcast. I said, "Oh my gosh!" I didn't even know what that show was, but I just enjoyed the podcast so much. And that's one thing that I want people to understand. It's like, yeah, we're all out here doing our things, but we're also out here supporting other people. Like, you may not ever see me listening to other people's podcasts, whatever, but they know I'm doing it. You know why? Because
Right.
their numbers show them that people are doing it. And it
Exactly.
and it helps. It helps. And that's why I wanted you on today. I literally had a meltdown. I'm going to go ahead and confess. Um, I sent you my Instagram post the other day, and I was
Uh-huh.
scrolling Instagram, and I just see this chick, and I'm like, oh, because at first it was just her picture. I said, oh gosh, I wish I could get my hair like that, right? I'm sitting here like trying to get my and so then when I looked at the video, I'm like, ma'am, really? Like, where they do that at? And all the lights were out of the roof. And she, just all she was really doing, I guess, was busting it or twerk. I don't know, pick a word. That's all she was doing, right? And so I looked at her page and there were all these followers and all, and I'm like, and she had the nerve. The tag was like, such and such and such and such, mother, actress, something. When you leave with Mother Boo and you out here
Okay.
busting it, I'm a little
Yeah.
bit confused. And the fact that this is, and so then another queen that I adore. Let me tell you, I have so many powerful women that I love and that I follow that are in this creative space. And she's actually here with us today, Deetra Kelsey. She is the host of Sister Talk TV, and she's
Okay.
out of the beautiful state of New York. She had this post the other day that had me cracking up. She said it's hard out here for a woman that doesn't twerk. Baby, truer words have not been spoken. Because let me tell you something. In my mind now, I feel like I can, grab my walker and get there with Meg Thee Stallion. In reality, that ain't happening, boo. That ain't happening.
Oh
And
man.
if that's what I gotta do to get people to come over to this YouTube channel or to get people to listen to the podcast, then that ain't for me. It's not for me.
And it's a shame. It's a shame because I struggle with this too. I'm like, well, how come they have so many likes and shares and follows and everything, and I can't get one, and it's frustrating. Like I said, we're in our third season of Ladies P.O.V, but we've been doing this for like 4 years now, about
Easily.
5 years now,
Easily.
and
Yep.
it's nowhere near where it should be, and I'm constantly thinking, what else can I do? Like, do I need some controversies? Because we always know controversy sells.
Here they come.
But
Here they
I don't
come.
want to go that route because that's not me. It's
Mhm.
not
And
me, and I just I'm not going to get on nobody's thing twerking. I love to dance, but I'm not going to be twerking, and I'm not doing that because I have a job also
come
that I
on.
need to
So
think about.
that's right. That's right. And not just that, like when she started with Mother, let me tell you something. She would hide under a bridge if she saw my old tail out here twerking somewhere. And not just that, I'm sure I don't know. My mama in her mature years, she getting a little frisky. She might come out there and twerk with me. But what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, it's just not something and if we were doing it, it would truly just be an expression of having fun and
Yeah,
happiness,
exactly. But not to sell
and
anything or not to,
no,
not business wise. I look at
not
it,
business.
from that standpoint. Everybody cannot do that. Everybody's not a
That's
Meg Thee
right.
Stallion, a Cardi B. Like that's their
Mhm.
lifestyle. That's what they can do. Wonderful.
Right,
But
right,
I'm not
right.
out here doing that.
And let me say, those of us out here doing the work that we're doing, like when I mentioned my sister in the struggle, Deetra Kelsey, she's a playwright. whose side are you on? She's a playwright. She's a host. Like, these are people that have been doing this, like you said, for a minute, and they
Mm-hmm.
have a message, an important message, right? So we can't lose sight of who we are trying to get the message out, to get the people to us. And I think part of where I want the conversation to go is just putting something out in the universe to say, hey, listen, here are some things you can do to support the folks out here that mean you well. Basically, I
Right.
mean, when I listen to you and Yolanda, I know most recently, you all were talking about not just All Star Weekend and the cautionary tale,
Yes.
but you talk about important things like the first black NFL official.
NFL
You all talk
referee.
about,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you all talked about the black female president for the soccer team, DC United. People don't know these types of things. They don't know the great things that black women are doing in many arenas. And with programs like yours, they need to listen. And let me
Yeah.
say something. I want to talk a little bit. I said partially how I know Tamika, so I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that as a segue to kind of teach. To teach in me. I'm still an educator, Tamika, so
Okay.
I'm gonna use that as a segue to kind of show you why what we are sharing is not only important to us, but important to the consumer as well. So I want to talk about, and you probably saw it in the tag where I say a first person. When we talk about first person, in this situation, if someone went to Tamika to talk to her about Carmelita, Tamika could use words like, "Oh, I know Carmelita. We worked together for many years. I would see Carmelita every morning," right? When people are able to use words like I, me, we, that's a first person account, right? So when you are consuming information, unfortunately, I learned something today. So many people get their news reports from the shade room. I almost fainted. I'm like, what?
Yeah, a lot of
The
people
shade
do.
room? I mean, like, that scares me, right? But you have to be able to also understand what is first person information, right? And
Hmm.
not that third person information is bad, and that is when you hear people say things like he did that, or she, or they, or that's third person. I'm not saying that any of that is bad. I am saying you have to know what you're consuming, because look, we're out here, we do a lot of watching trash and stuff that's good. Sometimes I do it just because I'm
Absolutely.
bored.
Hmm.
Other times we're doing it because it's research. But do you feel like what we're seeing now, especially just with younger generations, are people really able to truly understand, with all of these messages that they're getting, the difference between the types of messages that they're receiving as far as the information, who it's coming from, what they should do with it? What do you kind of feel the pulse is?
I mean, I feel like I want to. Okay, so I'm gonna take it back to getting the information from the shade room, right? I get that. I feel like it's the younger generation I mean, that is how they get their news. They get it from the shade room. They get it from these blogs, because they're not really watching the news. And sometimes it's a good thing that you did get that information from the shade room, because whoever brought it to the shade room, I guess it's for them reaching the masses. You know what I'm saying? Like, reaching this younger generation. And I'm gonna say, say the whole, like, Black Lives Matter, I feel like is a bigger movement because of these blogs, and not really on the news. Because when you have them on the news, they'll say something and they skip right over it. But when they're getting their information from the blogs, it's almost like, okay, it's on notice more so than it is on the news. So I feel like this generation has a little bit of pull when it comes to getting news and stuff that way.
Yeah, Yeah. And it spreads fast, right?
It
Because I
does.
think, yeah, I think this age of social media and, how kids are, I mean, everybody films everything now. I mean, if it wasn't filmed, it didn't happen.
Exactly. Which is that's also the gift and the curse. Because I feel like some things don't need to be filmed or recorded.
Ask
And
Kurt Franklin about it.
hello, you read my mind. Some
Yes,
things don't need
yes.
to be that way, and leaked, so they say. It doesn't
Hmm,
need to be, and
hmm.
in some things, it's good that it was caught, on video.
That's right. That's right. And when we think about even who controls the narrative, when we last week we talked about Meghan Markle, what's going on with them and the crown. Oh, I say the crown because that was the series, but you know what I mean. Kirk
Uh-huh.
Franklin. I mean, when I heard that, I didn't even listen. This is just how I am because you and I know how it is with these spin stories, right? We know what clickbait is. So I didn't even
Hmm.
listen to it right away, right? And so when I did hear it, I'm gonna have to confess, I was like, okay, and what, right? Because on any given day, if somebody had been recording me, they would be like, "Yo, was that Carmelita?" But
Right. I
I'm just
know.
saying, so
Listen, I know.
we've all been there, and and I'm not saying, I mean, even with my own child, I there are days, I still tell Haley now, that nature has a way of reminding you of that baby smell. And that's so that you don't like drown them in their bath water and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
that always helps. And please know that was light humor. That was, but your children, I'm gonna tell you something, and this is a real fact. My daughter's doctor, when she was little, her pediatrician, I'll never forget this. She was getting to a certain age, prepubescent and about to just lose her mind. And he told me, he said, well, the wonderful thing is that children will test the person they love the most. And
Mm.
I was looking at that joker like, that's a wonderful thing. But it is a true thing, right? So I think for some of us now, me having said that, I got that as a first person. I got it straight from the doctor, right? But
Right.
if you're someone out there looking at what's his name, Chiron, whatever, looking at his, what he posted and trying to figure out the narrative, because you got Kurt Franklin here apologizing, the son posting this, it's almost like there's the truth, the lie, and everything that falls in between.
Uh-huh.
And I
Right.
think that all goes back to POV. It goes back perspective. It goes back to points of view.
Yep.
So when you ask yourself, I mean, as far as who controls that narrative, what are we seeing out here as far as the narratives that people are fed, and are there dangers to how these narratives come out?
Mm. That's a good question. I feel like, yes, there is some danger to the narrative, and yeah, there definitely is some danger to the narrative because, like you said, the headlines is clickbait, and I too did not immediately click on the video because I saw it and I was like, oh, what's going on? It was the wee hours in the morning. But then when I finally saw it, I said, oh. But then I'm thinking, well, I would like to know the conversation, like what happened, what led up to that, because we don't know. We don't know what happened beforehand. We just see that little bit of, video, that audio that that was recorded. So we don't know what happened before that. We don't know what was leading up. Um so
That goes
again,
That's true. We only saw that, and just not even with that, but when you're asking who controls the narrative, I think that's a good question right there, Tamika, that you just touched on.
mhm,
Ask yourself the question: what happened before and after? That's a good
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
I
Because
like that. I'm writing that down.
again, yeah. I
And the
mean,
reason
we don't know.
we don't know, and I'm writing that down because I really want, when we talk about authentic voices, like when I listen to you and Yolanda, it's authentic because
Hmm.
your sports knowledge rolls off the tongue. And I don't know nothing about sports, but I know what I hear you all talk about, right? And I know, you hobnob with these sports celebrities or whatever. They know you, they love you, we love you. And I know you are an authentic voice.
Right.
So one of the things that I thought might be helpful is exactly what you just did, as far as how can we help people understand how you find that authentic voice. So, like that first question you just said, ask yourself what happened before and after. This is kind of like what we used to do with the students, Tamika, when you think about it. And just like I just described to you, I've been listening to you. I've been watching you all and listening for a long time.
Uh
So
huh.
I know that you all know your stuff. I
Right.
know that your voice is authentic. Is there something else that we can help educate people on as far as helpful ways to know when they are hearing something authentic, something intentional? And let me, and I'll give you an example. And I'm not knocking anybody's anything. Let me just be real clear. I'm not. But it has, especially because even though you know me as an educator, now I educate people in a different way. So I'm the realist realtor. When I see people popping up overnight and they can teach you how to buy a home, flip a home, invest in this, I'm like, what? Weren't you just selling bean pies last week on your platform? Like, when all this happened?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then they try to make disparaging remarks about those of us actually putting in the work and doing the research and getting the training and
Mhm.
credentials. And it doesn't sit well with me. So how can people kind of filter through that stuff?
I feel like, I mean, asking you got to ask the questions. Like you said, you have selling bean pies by day, and then the next day is, oh, I'm a house flipper, or I'm a realtor. No, you're not. What makes you a realtor? But I ask this all the time too, because it's a lot of consultants popping up, and I'm always saying, well, what makes you a consultant? What why are you a consultant? What is making you a consultant? Because if that's the case, then so am I. I have some knowledge on things, and I can give my opinion, and I can consult you into doing, what's right for your business. So I'm a consultant. People come to me all the time. So you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to ask questions, I feel, in
Yes,
order
yes.
to get that. And again, that's not knocking anybody.
No,
It's
no,
not knocking
no.
anybody, but I just feel like sometimes you cannot tell me something that you know about it, something overnight. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. I'm asking questions.
I love that about ask the question, what makes you an expert? And that's interesting because I actually went through for my own business a class, Black Experts Empire, wonderful class. And what that class taught is exactly what you're speaking of, how to show people, why we are able to say, I have an expertise in this area, right? Because
Hmm.
I would never advise anyone on any area of real estate that I don't know about or that I just don't
Right.
care to deal with, but I can refer you, to someone else.
Exactly. Exactly. That and that is part of the reason why I went. I'm going back to school, because again, I want to help small businesses, and I want to know what I'm talking about when it comes to every aspect of business, and really, the marketing portion of things. I don't want to just sit here and you can get all the. I mean, you can get all the knowledge online, and reading things too. But I want to have that backing. I want to have that credential, backing. And
Yeah,
again, not to say that, these people who are making it, that they're not experts and they're not, credentialed, because some of them aren't, and they're just good at what they do. I just
yeah.
want the backing. Give me my piece of
And
paper.
and you have every right to do that. And one of the things that I'm going to say about Tamika, because I know me, she had the expertise before the degree. What I hear her saying is that she wants that degree for herself, and that is the choice that she gets to make, as does everyone. Some people feel like I don't need college, and I mean, look at Jim Carrey. I don't even think he barely made it out of high school, right? But
Yeah, exactly.
he definitely, but he's an expert at what he does. See
Mhm.
how that works. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, so he definitely followed that passion and his drive, and he worked at it. So I don't want anybody thinking that twerking is the pathway. And I'm not even saying, for us, it's not about likes. It's not about, I mean, do we need the audience? Yes, we would like to have, but what we're definitely saying is, it doesn't take a minute to like somebody something, or watch, give someone some watch hours on a video, leave some
That is
comments,
the truth.
listen to the podcast, because that helps their track record, and it helps more people find them. But it also helps people at least hear other voices out here. Because let me tell you something, the way this YouTube world exploded and all those things, that's great. But we see what they're doing out here: Facebook shutting down major accounts, YouTube flagging everybody's video, so these are not platforms that we own. However, for some of us, I know, at least, for the two people you see here, like even with our podcast, we always know, yeah, download your copy and keep your copy yourself, because if something happens to that platform, we still own our content. We still have our content.
Exactly.
So, you have to make sure you're listening, getting information from people that are out here being responsible with their platform. And actually, so that leads to the next thing I wanted to talk about: platform responsibility and influence. Because I tell you, I don't know when all this started happening with the Patreon and the fans only, and and even the YouTube with the super chats, and on the IG with the, you can send money. I'm like, oh my God, like what is going on out here? This is so much. And then, oh, who was it recently? They were all a hubbub about, was it Trey Songs or
Trey
some
Songz.
video? It's too much. They doing
Yeah.
so much out here. And it doesn't seem like anything is private, and you can pay for everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why people get, OnlyFans accounts. And even if you have an OnlyFans account, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to have some explicit content, because apparently Chris Brown has an OnlyFans account and he puts up his artwork, or he's counting down, the days of his album. People, I guess, OnlyFans started initially for explicit content because people are going to pay for it because they nosy, and that's how,
Mhm.
these people are making money, because people are nosy and they want to look inside. They want to look into these celebrities' lives and see some stuff, or hear some
Yep.
exclusive content. Like you said, Patreon, that's another one. You want some exclusive content, then pay the $5 a month or however much the Patreon is, so you can get that exclusive content. People are
Mhm.
nosy, and that's what it comes down to. So that's how these people are making money.
Yeah, yeah, and you hit that dead on the head. They want to peek into somebody else's life, you know,
Hmm.
um, and that's so interesting. And I'm glad you said that. You just educated me. See what the young children do for you. I didn't know what fans only fans was for,
Only
because
fans.
I've never, exposed myself to it, because I thought it was all that crazy, craziness going on over there. So shout out to Chris Brown for showing his artwork. I hope he's
Yeah,
in
and
art
he's talented.
good. Yeah, he needs some art therapy, and bless his heart. So I'm glad he's doing it. You know, let me tell you, me, when I want to peek into the lives of other people, like I said, you know how we roll. I live my life through music and through
Mhm.
books. So I always pick up a good book. I see my girl Author Empress just joined us. Hey, Author Empress Simone. She was on last week. I just finished reading her book, The Power of Love. It was awesome. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I really enjoy reading and things of that nature. But I know, like you're saying, sometimes people are just consuming information. But let me tell you something. And I want everybody on here to hear this. And I want you to tell another person later today and make sure that you make them tell somebody else. I don't care what you think you are going to be able to gain from these devices here, these cell phones, this stuff like this. You have to pick up a book. You must. There is no way around it. You're going to have to read a book. And when we were talking about those first person accounts, third person accounts, it's important your mind and your information level, that availability, it's not going to go as far as it needs to for you to build wealth for yourself and for your family without picking up a book. Hey, Regina, thanks for joining us. Oh, no, it looks like we lost Tamika again, but I know that she will come back in shortly. So I'm glad that she taught me about that. I didn't know that about fans only. Maybe you all knew that about fans only, but I definitely didn't know that. So she educated me about that for sure. So oh, I hope you heard the last thing I was saying, Tamika. I was saying that no matter what, folks have to pick up a book at some point. You all good, sis? Or can you hear me, Tamika? Oh, okay. Let's give her a sec. Oh, okay. So I guess she'll connect to something else. I tell you, look, we were struggling with this Wi-Fi on both ends of the world today, but that's all right because we're gonna keep it moving. So now the next thing that I want to do, um, yeah, you're right, Gina. Books don't provide that instant gratification. And yeah, you're right. That is why things like IG and other platforms are winning because they provide that instant gratification for people. But again, at some point we got to retrain and reclaim our brains. Like we must, because the revolution isn't going to happen on IG theoretically. I mean, I think people that are being responsible with their platforms, like Tamika was saying, people who are being critical consumers of information, asking those questions when they see things come out like, oh, I know another question that I didn't say, Tamika. I want to add it to our list. Who's
Uh-huh.
providing the narrative? Who's providing the narrative? That's another one that I want to
Oh,
add because
yeah.
I'm yeah, I'm about to blow y'all's mind real quick because y'all know I'm the realest realtor. And some days you could just say petty mayonnaise. I don't care what you say. So, so I pay good money, as many other realtors do, to our realtor publication. Okay. And you see the front of this book, Equity is the Future. I agree. And they're talking about different realtors in their communities leading to right historical wrongs. I don't know if you realize this or not, Tamika, and all of my friends in the chat, but when I launched my podcast, it was with a series on the injury to Black families losing legacy land. And I highlighted a family. That's how I launched my podcast. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I've been speaking on this for a long time. I've encouraged people to purchase and consume The Black Tax by Sharon Rochester, to read The Color of Law by Richard Rossi. Folks who've been following me for a minute, this ain't new to them. This isn't new to them because this is what I do. So when you go into the magazine, and take a look at the folks who are righting the wrongs. Let me just show you about who's controlling the narrative. All right, let me show you the first page of the article. Now you saw the cover of the magazine, right? You saw the cover.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
hold up, page one of the
Mm.
article. Excuse me, repairs of the breach. I'm confused. Hold up. Where Karen come from?
Right. Where did she come from?
Where Karen come from? And she's the repairer of the breach. Well, who is she then? Who is she?
No. Right.
She she not repairing the breach for her people, for the ancestors. You mean
Mm.
tell me Karen gotta come and get the land back that the ancestors lost? I'm sorry, y'all. This is what I do sometimes. So yeah, so it says repairs of the breach, biggest day, and then it's got Karen's picture here. And bless Karen's heart. I don't even know who she is, but America, yeah, whatever. America's history of racist housing policies inflicted staggering losses on Black Americans. Well, I know that. I know you probably know that, Tamika. I mean, I'm sure this lady know that.
I'm sure.
But so where Karen come from? I'm confused. I'm confused. Now, I will say what they did do. They do have two Black realtors in there. One of them on the second page, right here, after Karen. All this little small letter, and I can't even read it halfway good. I gotta get some other glasses. But they don't have it as big as the repairs of the breach. See,
Uh-huh.
this is how you have to consume information. And then the lady that they had on the front of the day. Oh, wait a minute, hold up. Then the third page, here we go. We got a dynamic duo repairing the breach. Come on, y'all. Come on now. You got to see the fallacy and who's controlling this narrative. And the
Mm.
woman that you put on the cover, you put her on the last page of the article. That's all
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's
say. Yeah,
wrong.
that's all
That's
I'm gonna
so
say about
wrong
that.
on many levels.
Repairs of the breach. You ain't even got the woman on the first page of the article that you had on the cover of the magazine. I'm not knocking anything. I'm not saying so. Let me be clear. People are always like, Carmelita, you always coming for people. There are people that can be your allies. Let me first be clear, because I haven't minced my words not one day. My mama here, she know I ain't asked for no allies. As a matter of fact, I would prefer you leave me alone and let me get me and my people on some equal ground so we can start recouping some of the things that, yes, we have had. We didn't lose nothing. It was stolen. We ain't lose nothing.
Hello.
Okay, but let me say this. I don't hate anybody. If you're my ally, that's fine. Then I need to hear you talking to your people more than you asking me to explain something to you.
Yep.
Because that ain't, you're not my ally. I don't have to explain anything to you. It's common knowledge. Matter of fact, why don't you go look at some of those books that y'all hid from us? Go look at some of the information y'all kept from us. It's
Hmm.
common knowledge. It ain't hard to find. I mean, come on now. And so anyway, that's one of the questions I would like to add. Who's providing the narrative? People need to ask themselves, because I feel like, Tamika, and you can tell me your thoughts on this, whoever controls the narrative benefits from it the most. What do you say?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. I
Yeah.
definitely agree with that because, like you said, look at look at what you just showed us. Look at what you just showed us, and who's going to benefit from it the most? Karen and her family.
Karen, not the Black realtors out here doing the best they
No.
can to get, and I listen, you already know where I'm going with
Yeah.
that. And
Uh-huh.
and it's just because even with us, it's almost like we out here having to prove ourselves worthy.
Yes, I feel like we just had a conversation about that on our podcast. I feel like
Wow.
we always have to work harder, and everyone knows we have to work harder than other people to get what we want.
And I'm gonna take, I don't know how you and Yolanda approach it. I'm gonna take it a step. We should have got Yolanda on here. I'm about to have y'all back, girl. I'm about to
Yeah,
have
for
y'all back.
sure.
But I'm gonna take it a step further. Not only do we have to work harder, we got to work harder for our own people
Hmm.
to even come and listen and share their input, with us, to even help us out. And I feel like in other communities, their folks do business with them because that is the adopted way to behave.
I feel like I have this conversation a lot. I do because that is so true. I always say Black people are the most. I just feel like we just have so much like access. It's always some type of friction, like you said, with other races and other backgrounds and ethnicities. They are taught that, and you wonder why. You have the Asian people coming over here owning stores, and working in the stores together and the carryouts and stuff, because that's what they do. They live
Mhm,
together, they
mhm.
eat together, they breathe together, they do all of that together. Spanish people the same way.
Yeah,
They come
yeah,
here, they live in a house, and it might be 50, 11 of them, but they live in here, they all
mhm.
working, and then they going, everywhere else. So I just feel like we don't like to work together. We don't like
Yeah,
to help
and
each other, to like to withhold information. It
ooh,
I don't like that. I do not
I
like
think
that at all.
I think that's the worst, Tamika, that withholding information.
It is. It really
Hmm.
is.
I think that's
It
part of
really
the
is.
worst.
Because why? Why are you withholding information? Because you don't want somebody else to be better than you? You think it's more than enough room out here for all of us to succeed.
It's more
More
than
than enough.
enough. And I agree with you, Gina. They are always on code in the sense that they know that supporting their community is actually the thing that helps the community thrive.
Yeah.
And even with that, they also know that, let's say, if Tamika and I are in the same community and she's been supporting my business and I fall short of her one day, she's not going to go blasting me all on the gram and all on Facebook. She's going to come to me and say, yo, Carmelita, the other day when I came in here, my order wasn't right, such and such happened. And I'll be like, what? Oh my God, give me a chance to make
Mhm.
it right. Give me a chance to make it right. How many times do we go to businesses owned by other people and give them chance after chance
Chance
after
after chance. But as soon as it's a black owned business, then like you said, you blasting them on Twitter, you blasting them on IG, on Facebook, you just blast them, and I'm not going back to that place. They ain't getting no more
exactly
of my money. But then you
after
go in there,
one
you're looking for a hookup as soon as you walk in
look at
there. You don't do
oh,
that in the other spots.
Tamika, you already know they already want that hookup. And like I said, Tamika has been consulting even before she gets this degree. She is definitely skilled at what she does. So don't lose her contact. It is in the description of this video. But even for professional services, we don't go to people saying, "Oh, can I get that hookup?" No, you go with value of your own. If you happen to need a decrease in payment, then what of value are you going to give back in exchange? Like, you have to be able to barter. And Deetra, I agree with you. We definitely have to learn how to work together. That is so imperative. And so, I'm just glad. I was. That's why I said I could not think of anybody else that I wanted to do this particular conversation with. And hey, speaking of my favorite authors, Morgan B. Holland is in the building as well. I love the guests that we have come through on this platform. And you're exactly right. We have a lot of reprogramming to do, Morgan. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I know I'm up to the task. And I know that I got other warriors out there with me, like my girl, Tamika Rector. We are going to keep bringing the authentic voice and a pure message. And we know that as long as we, like you said, Tamika, that's not who you are. You're going to stick to who you are. And that
Yeah.
is going to always serve you well. And I want to say this about influence. I'm going to read this to you from John Maxwell. He's a favorite of mine. And he wrote this article years ago called Leading a Life of Intentional, hear that, folks, intentional influence. And he used as the backdrop, I'm sure many of you have watched It's a Wonderful Life. I used to always laugh, George Bailey. So when George Bailey, if you'll remember, went back to look over his life, the angel he was with was kind of taking him through what his life would look like had he not been there. And the outcomes for everybody were totally different. They were dismal, to say the least, right? Because of his influence not being there. So one of the things that Maxwell wrote about were these three basic truths about influence. Here's the main ones I always highlight. Everyone has influence. He says there is no denying the influence one life has on the world. In fact, sociologists tell us that even the shyest introvert will influence 10,000 people over the course of their lifetime, whether they are trying to or not. 10,000 people. The shyest of introverts will influence 10,000 people whether they want to or not. This is why we have to choose the nature of our influence, and we have to be responsible with how we are influencing. And let me be clear, I cannot control other people. But as for me and my house, come on now, you don't want me what we're going to do over here, okay? We are just going to definitely stay the course because that's powerful to me. Because think about it. If we weren't even trying, we're going to influence 10,000 people.
Yeah.
I already know for a fact between the two of us, we've already influenced more than 10,000 people. And so
Yeah.
I want to give you your props, sister. I'm gonna big
Thank
up you.
you. Thank
Yes.
you. Let me pop my collar.
Go ahead and pop your collar. Because like once we start accepting that and knowing that, I think it gives us the fuel we need. Because I needed some eye on the
Yes.
street.
It really does because I always say you never know who's watching. You never know who is watching you. You never know, the things that you do on a daily basis. Like I say good morning every morning.
You do. I see it.
Because I just want to get a pep in my step and and start the day off right. And
Yes.
so many people are like, "Oh my gosh, I love your good mornings. You're so positive," and people will comment and everything. So I like that. Like it gives me a boost. But let me not start off on the wrong foot. I need to say good morning first because that's how you start the day off with a
That's
simple
right.
good morning.
Good morning. And you and I know we've worked in environments where people will walk in. It's like, yo, I ain't sleep at your house last night. When you were you not raised better than that? I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, you
You
already. I
walk
mean,
in,
and
you
it
just
can.
don't say anything at all. I don't understand that, but
I don't either. But then again, I do. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, some days I don't get it, and some days I do. But that's so important. Just about being responsible with who you are, because yeah, you've been doing good morning for a long time. I would
yeah,
think something was odd if you didn't say good morning, and like
exactly.
and see, you never know who's watching.
You never
Um,
know who's watching.
and how that really makes a difference. So I'm really getting my fire back. So I thank you for that because I was like, oh my gosh, I need to have this conversation with somebody that understands, what is happening out here, and how it can weigh on you. But as I'm just gonna say it to not just to you, Tamika, but to any of our fellow influencers out there. Look, y'all, reach out to us, to each other. Stay connected with folks. Feeling down, feeling low. Say, hey, Tamika, can you and Yolanda come on my podcast? Can I come on? Like
Yeah,
do something of that nature. We're open to it. We're definitely open to it because I like having I tell people all the time. I can trace everything back to real estate. Of course I can. I just did it again. Boom, undefeated, baby, undefeated. You know? So that's what I tell people all the time. It's like it doesn't matter the area. We all share some things in common. And Tamika doesn't know that I'm about to do this, but I am about.
um,
So one of the things I'm. She's like, So I am so excited. I don't know if you've seen this, Tamika. I did launch my apparel brand, OYO, on your own.
oh, okay.
Yes, yes, because owning your own is the mindset and the sentiment that I operate from, not just your own home, not just your own dirt, definitely your own mindset, your own thoughts, your own outcomes. We all need to own our own, whatever that is for us. And Tamika has a little project that I think started and is very needed. And I know Corona kind of threw us off. But I am hoping that she will let me continue to irritate her to greatness when it comes to Victory Monday.
Yes, yes.
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
can.
Yep. She knows what I'm talking about. This lady right here, listen, she when some of my other business folks in here, we always talk about people sitting on $1 million ideas. She's got multiple $1 million ideas. So I'm saying publicly, Tamika, that I'm gonna keep irritating you to greatness
Please do.
On
Please
Victory
do.
Monday.
I
Yeah,
appreciate that because COVID came and just knocked my
yeah.
creative spirit down a bit.
I
Not, just
understand.
being in the house and not
Yes.
being able to get creative. That wore me down. I'm not gonna lie. But
Yes.
now that I'm
Yes.
back, out and working, my mind is like, okay,
Mhm.
let's go. Let's rev up that train.
Let me tell you, and I told her this years ago. That Victory Monday is needed, and it's hers. And y'all heard it here first. And if y'all see any other bam out here with it, y'all better tell me because I'm gonna go
Yeah.
after them because that is Tamika's idea. So I'm going to keep on not just irritating you, but supporting you in any way. Because let me tell you, launching these apparel brands, oh my God, I had no idea, no idea.
Yeah. It's
So hey,
launching anything is it's really not an easy task.
it's not easy.
It's
It's
not
not
an easy
easy.
task at all. Like,
Mm-mm.
just even launching the podcast, it's not easy because
No,
especially for us, we've gone through so much, and I learned so much on the go, on the fly. It don't make no
that's
sense.
right.
I'm an
That's
expert
right.
now. I know how to
Yes.
edit my own stuff. I know what things should sound like. I know how to post on, the platforms and stuff. I know how to get that stuff done because I didn't know that stuff at first. I had to learn on the fly and it was so hard to do, but I overcame it.
That's right. And you, ma'am, just let me see. Let me go back to our questions. What makes you an expert? Exactly what you just said.
Right.
Because all of that stuff that you learned on the fly, some of us still don't know all of it. And we, not calling any names, have to pay people to do that stuff. That's what makes you an expert, Tamika. That is the value. So that degree, that might be something nice that you wanted for yourself, but you are the expert right now. So, and I know that for a fact because I never, I tell people all the time, I don't bring people on this platform unless they are the best, and I don't talk about something I haven't experienced. And I know for a fact that you're good at what you do.
I
So,
appreciate that very much.
absolutely, absolutely. So you are definitely an expert. So before we wrap up, folks, this has been so wonderful. I hope you all have been inspired. I know I have. I just love, love, love you, Tamika, for coming on. And then I wanted to ask you, since we've been talking about who's telling your story, who's controlling your narrative, have you ever heard of Sarah Rector?
I have. I have. Yes, I have. And I've done
Good.
a little research, not a whole lot, but I've done a little research. And, I kind of want to trace back and see if I'm related somehow, some way.
When I ran across that story, I said, "Oh my God, this is how we're going to end the show as far as who's controlling our narrative." So, for those of you who may not know Sarah Rector, and don't worry because I did put a link in the description of this video. Oh, good, Dietrich, you've heard of her as well. I put a link in the description of this video with an article that you can read about Sarah Rector. And I will say, it was new to me, but see how important this is for, those of us who are constantly reading, constantly researching, because way leads to way leads to way. And so the ancestors were just having me read all these things, and I came upon Sarah Rector, and I said, "Oh my God, look at Tamika's cousin." And so Sarah
Right.
Rector, yes, because I mean your last name is spelled the same way and everything. So she became the richest 11-year old in back in 1913. So she was actually a multi-millionaire oil baron at the age of 12. And they called her, well, she was part of the Creek Nation or the Muskogee Indian Nation, but only because her parents had been enslaved or whatever by them. So there was this very convoluted, kind of explanation. But the long and short of it is that once they gained exit or freedom out of that enslavement, they were given 160 acres of land. Come on, what do? You got to own dirt
Okay.
and doors. OYO. Still undefeated. I relate everything back to real estate.
Bring it
So
back.
they gave her, got to bring it back. They gave her this plot of land that they felt was garbage. See, here we go, because I feel a sermon coming on. It
Hmm.
was rocky. They thought there was nothing there. They said, okay, yeah, this is her 160 acres. Now, it was fine. Her father, her mom, her siblings, they were happy. They were living there, minding their business, doing what they needed to do, but they had to pay taxes on this land every year because y'all know tax lien properties. Y'all know how people, again, legacy homes and legacy land lost because of these taxes, right? So the taxes were $30, and it got to a point the dad couldn't afford it. So he leased out a portion of her land to to the oil company, right? And lo and behold, they struck a very fertile oil discovery there in Oklahoma. That's where she was from. And she basically literally began receiving these constant payments of money that ultimately made her, not even ultimately, it was pretty quick because you all know when you tap into a brand new oil well, it's just gushing, 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 gushing. So her family was good for quite some time. But let's talk about who's controlling that narrative, right? So during that time when she became a millionaire, it was interesting what all the headlines were saying about her because they were controlling her narrative. So they wrote about her and her land that was granted to her, and would say they called her things like, let's see, what did this one say? Oil well produces net income, Negro girls 112,000 a year. Another article said oil, this was from January 1914, oil made Pickaninny rich. Oklahoma girl with 15,000 a month gets many proposals. Four white men in Germany want to marry the Negro child that they might share her fortune. My God, today. So then, now these were headlines, folks. This wasn't stuff they said in the back alley room. These were headlines at the time. And then, so much so that what then begins to happen as they see this young lady becoming rich, what do they do? He who controls the narrative, they start a smear campaign against her parents, saying that her parents were ignorant, that the children were living in a shack. Oh, they said, yeah, that her money, here we go, her money and her estate was being mismanaged by grafters and her ignorant parents. She was uneducated, dressed in rags, lived in an unsanitary shanty. So Booker T. Washington and W.B. Du Bois, of course, became concerned, went down there to check on her welfare. And of course, it was all lies, all lies. But even though none of that was true, they still placed a white man as the, I don't know, conservator, I guess, of her money until she became of age. TJ Porter was his name. He became the financial guardian, kind of like, I guess, what we see Britney Spears going through right now. But here's the difference: she ain't need no guardian.
No.
Out of here. Get out of here. Girl,
Wow.
that's what I said. Whoever controls the narrative, boy. So let me tell you, people, it's not, I don't hate anybody, but I don't need you to be my ally. I need you to get your people together.
Yeah.
Get your people together.
Get
You
your
watch what your get your people together. Watch what they're writing. Watch what they're putting on the news. Check your people first. How about that?
yeah.
Because that wanted, that's all I got. Y'all know when I get my note cards going, I'm fine. I am fired up. I'm fired up. And Empress Simone, oh my gosh, you're a genealogist as well. Oh my gosh. Okay, good.
Ooh.
Tamika, yeah, okay, okay. Well, yeah, Empress Simone is one of the authors that was on last week. So
Uh-huh.
she's one of my IG friends or whatever, and you can also find her. Thank you for sharing that, Empress Simone. Definitely. But yeah, I mean, come on, pick a nanny. I mean, come on, y'all. This, and look, this ain't made up. And what type of resources? These first narrative, these first primary resources, they exist. You can look up stuff at the Library of Congress. Let me tell you, I go look at deeds sometimes, and they say cannot be sold to niggas. Still today. Now, of course, they're not legal,
Wow.
but that's what they say. You can go to any daggone county tax record and you'll see several deeds like that. And you know what? That language will remain on the deed until you get a title company to correct it. How about that? Did y'all know that? How about them
Mm.
apples?
Learn something new today.
How about them apples? I told you I can relate everything to real estate. That's what I do. Tamika, I love you. I love you, love you. Thank you so much for being on here today.
I love you too, and I thank you for having me on. This
This
was
was
fun. This
so
was
much
really fun.
fun. And thank you guys for rocking with us today. We will be back next week. I'm just loving doing these dope dialogues with women. And look, I heard you and Yolanda say, even though it's Women's History Month, and I know you all were talking about International Women's Day, you were like, it's Women's Day 365.
It is all the time, all the
Yes,
time. We always say because we have to support, we have to stick together as women, and just get all of our things out there. So
yeah, we do.
we are
And folks,
here.
yes, please make sure, like I said, everything for Tamika, her contact is in the description of this video. So please make sure you connect with her. She is on Anchor, Spotify, Apple. Where are your platforms for your podcast?
Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeart.
She's in all the places.
I'm pretty sure I'm missing something, but we're there. We're there.
Okay, so that's Ladies P.O.V. So please make sure that you go and give them a listen and support them. Oh yeah, Dietrich, you're exactly right. It is all over DC as well with those D's. You're exactly right. And please also make sure that you join me tomorrow on my podcast, The Real is Realtor, every Wednesday at 3 p.m. And I am on Oh, I wish we did have more time, Gina. I love doing these too. I am also on Anchor and Spotify. And listen, encourage folks, ask your friends, get your mom and them, go over and follow our OYO Instagram page. We are rolling out images as fast as we can because we're just getting products and things in, but we want to keep everybody in the loop. And we're doing a free giveaway here in March. So please make sure that you are doing that because it is important to us that you own your own, not just dirt and doors, but every part of your essence. Tamika Rector, thank you so much for being with
Thank
us this
you. Thank
afternoon.
you.
I look forward to doing this again. And all of you, thank you for joining us. And I leave you always in the manner in which I came, folks. That is in peace. Take care.